Hi, my name is John Gomez. I am the CEO and founder of Sensato. And I really appreciate you taking a little bit of time to kind of let me go through this presentation. This is a very different presentation than we've ever done before. And I'm really begging you, how many times have you had a CEO beg you to give this your full attention? I know everybody's crazy busy, but one of the questions I get a lot is, what can I do to make a real difference in my cybersecurity program? And this presentation, I promise you, is going to help answer that question. And the most important thing here I want you to know, assuming you're a client of ours, is there's nothing in this presentation I'm going to share with you that is going to require you to spend any more money. Okay, except maybe one or two things, and it's a tiny amount. But 99% of everything I'm going to talk to you here about, you already have and own and license and subscribe to through our full stack security program. And if you're not a client, you're going to get a tremendous amount out of this to help you understand the benefits and value that our clients are seeing. So with that, let's just jump into it. This is going to be really informal. I'm really hoping that you take notes. And most of all, you know what? I gotta talk to Sensato about this and figure out how we do this. Why aren't we doing this? Okay, so I think all of you know, or should know, that what we have is a full stack solution. In fact, many people would say it's the first true full stack, fully integrated cybersecurity solution. And that includes our Nightingale software platform, our CTOC, which is our Security Operations Center, and the Sensato widgets. And depending on where you are in your journey with us, you're going to know more about one of these things or another. And what I want to do today is really talk about how do you gain the most value, and more importantly, what are the actual success factors or principles that our most successful clients are embracing. And so we're going to get to that in a moment. But what I want to talk about is, we have been able to achieve a 99 KLAS score, which is amazing to us, and we're still trying to get to 100. And when we get to 100, we want to figure out how to go beyond the 100. 100 doesn't mean stop, but we're not going to rest. And part of this presentation is to help you realize as much as you can in terms of value from us. And I think it's really important to understand we are the industry leading score. There are companies 10 times our size that are not able to provide you with the same level of value and comprehensive holistic solution that Sensato can. I know that may sound egotistical and boastful, but again, part of this presentation is to hopefully orient you to a lot of things where you go, you know what, I didn't even know we had this, right? I forgot about this, right? We've presented all this during other presentations and pre-sales, and I think what happens is, as we do deployments and things, sometimes people forget everything they have. And this is a way to kind of come back and again figure out, what do the most successful clients we have do, and what do they use? So let's figure out the critical success factors. Now, what I want to show you, these are actual client statements that many of our clients have either said, shared with us, or we've learned about. One of them is, hey, you guys are really truly the best kept secret in healthcare cybersecurity. And we're working on not being such a secret. We can use your help to actually help achieve that. This was a comment that was made to one of our clients from their auditors. Right? Their auditors did an audit of their entire cybersecurity program, including their medical device and IoT program, and said, you guys have probably the most advanced medical device cybersecurity program in the country of everyone we've seen. This is a very large audit group. And what's interesting is that hospital that got this comment from their auditors is solely reliant on our entire MDCOP program. Okay. Our cybersecurity maturity levels went from a 1 to a 4 pretty much overnight after deploying your solution. Your cybersecurity solution is a CIO's dream. Sensato gives my team the ability to breathe and, more importantly, take on more advanced projects. Sensato is the best technology investment I've made in my entire career, 26 years as a CIO. Your team literally saved us from what could have been a devastating cyber attack, which would have crippled our organization. You have exactly what everyone is trying to create, but it's totally integrated, and more important, it really works. I am humbled by these comments. I love them, but I know we still have more work to do. We're not perfect, but man, we're really trying. We're trying to come from a place of good, and hopefully someday, maybe never, get to great. But I think we're heading in the right direction, and a lot of that has to be because all of you, our clients, keep us honest and focused on what's important. And then the return on that is hopefully that you realize you have a real partner in this and not just the vendor. So with that, with all these comments, we started trying to figure out, well, why? Why are people saying these things about us? It is really hard. I can tell you every person on my team has a hard time taking compliments. And whether they're internal compliments that we give each other, or they come from partners or industry colleagues or clients. So we really wanted to figure out, why are people saying these things? And we went out and we started looking at each and every one of our clients across all of our spectrums of business, whether it's our advisory services or our full stack solution, our critical access or rural hospitals, our MD COP, medical device security clients. And we came back with something that was pretty interesting. The clients that had the most successful assessments and audits, that had the best incident response plans, the ones that had the highest levels of maturity and the most professional cybersecurity programs, they were doing basically three things. Okay, now there's some subtasks to what they were doing, but one, they had an extremely strong relationship with us. Two, they had a huge reliance on Nightingale. Three, they had an amazing relationship and reliance on CTOC and WIDGETS. And so I'm going to go into each one of these for you. I want to kind of tell you what each of these things mean and why they're critical and important. And I think a lot of this, you're going to be like, I didn't know this was part of the package, which is, on our shoulders to figure out how to fix. And this is a step in that direction. We want to make sure every client is using everything we have to offer, right? And it would be easy for us to just go, you know what, we don't have to turn that on, that's great. They don't want to use it, don't use it. Makes our lives easier. I'm not about that. This is a mission we're on, this is a passion we have, is to help secure your organization. And we can't do that if you're not fully taking advantage of everything we have. And if you make a conscious decision not to use something, that's awesome. But if you're making a decision, you're investing in another technology, you're investing in something else, or you're not doing something simply because you don't know or don't remember that we have this and it's part of what we offer you, then that's a shame. That's sad. So let's get through kind of how our most successful clients, and by success, again, we're talking about people at the highest level of maturity in terms of their cybersecurity programs, the most professional programs we see out there, the most locked down environments. This is the stuff they're doing. Okay. So the relationship, right? This is where it all starts, and it's pretty amazing. The best relationships we have, and I think we have great relations with everybody. There are some unique things about the relationships where I would say that there's some standout relationships, and one of those is we recognize as Sensato that we're a bit different, right? We believe that cybersecurity, you can't just do what everybody else does, because that doesn't really lead to great outcomes. So we are a little bit different in terms of how we look at things. You've probably heard us talk about the attacker's perspective. You've probably heard us preach and talk about, things that may seem a little radical. But part of what we understand is our client base is a little bit different. The clients we work with, the ones we get along with the best, they are different. They don't want status quo. They embrace comply, detect, and respond. They have an assertive leadership team. They leverage our relationships, and they have frequent and realistic communication with us. So we might be a little bit different, but it's because those who rely on us are also a bit different. And I think the outcome of that is pretty amazing. So in terms of fully embracing comply, detect, respond, this is our mantra. We believe that every security team is trying to basically do three things: comply with regulations and best practices, detect threats, and respond to them in a timely manner and in a successful method. To do that, what we find is organizations that really are at the top tier of our clientele take the full stack solution we offer and they make sure that they are using it to help address all three of these components, right? And I'm going to show you how they do that through the rest of this presentation, of how that full stack solution that you've licensed and you have access to everything here can help you across compliance, detection, and response, right? It's not just marketing. This is how we've architected the entire solution, right? Every line of code, every practice, every procedure, every interaction is meant to support comply, detect, respond. And those clients that really get that, they do some amazing magical things when it comes to cybersecurity, even with very few limited resources. We have clients who are doing this and have one or two people in their entire IT team. They don't have an IT security team, and they're doing some amazing things. Now, part of the reason for that is assertive leadership. The very best of the best that we see have leaders that are risk takers. You know, they put ego aside, they're assertive, they say what they mean, and most importantly, they demand high moral fortitude, right? They have a vision of what cybersecurity should be. They're realistic. They know that despite best efforts, they could still be breached. But man, it's basically, hey, on my watch, there's going to never be an excuse that we let something slip. If it happens, we were outgunned or outgamed, right? But it wasn't because we were lazy or ignorant, or we just didn't take advantage of what we had. So assertive leadership is critical. We can't give that to you, but you need to be that voice, that champion in your organization that pushes back against the CEO and the C-suite and the CMO and the board. And I know that's hard, and I know it feels like you just get beat up all the time. But I will tell you this, we have got partners who bring us in to talk to their CEOs and their boards. And for whatever reason, it kind of works. We've had people say to us, you know, look, I've said the same thing you say, but the fact that you're an outsider and, you know, whatever, they'll listen to you. Who cares? We're not here for the glory of the ego. We're here to help you and protect patients, right? So if you need us to come in, there's no charge. We will talk to your board, your C-suite, whoever you need us to. You want us to do a lunch and learn? You want us to talk to your end users? We'll do it, right? There's no charge. We just do this, right? So be assertive, inside and outside, with us and with your other colleagues and your leadership. Another thing we find is we have some amazing relationships. Some of you may have forgotten or don't remember this, right? We are the official cybersecurity provider for a variety of hospital associations and group purchase organizations, and we got some amazing relationships with government. And some of our best partners leverage our relationships, right? They leverage them to reduce their liability insurance, right? They'll have a communication with their broker and their insurance agent, and their insurance agent broker will reach out to us and they'll talk about the Sensato program and the full stack solution. And then all of a sudden they find out, oh, you guys are an ISAL, and by virtue of you guys doing business with us, you are now a member of our ISAL. And we've had people who are part of other ISALs or ISACs, they've shut down ththose relationships and they've reinvested those funds somewhere else. We don't charge for it. You do business with us, you are a member of our ISAL, right? And this can lead to reduction in liability insurance, right? There's emergency response support here, where we can get to DHS and CISA, right? We have the ability to get specialized threat intelligence, which you guys benefit from because it's automatically populated to your Nightingale platform. I don't know if you realize this. We have DHS classified servers that share threat intelligence, right? We are part of the early response plan for FDA's medical device security, right, program. You guys benefit from all that, right? You should be packaging that up, speaking to that to your auditors and your assessors and your insurance brokers, and letting them know when they say, well, you know, tell me about your threat and vulnerability management program. Tell me about how you guys do threat intelligence. You should be like, here's Sensato's phone number, you call them. Right? You should be taking these slides and going, here's our threat intelligence program, right? We're connected to FDA. We're part of an ISAL for critical infrastructure. We have communication capabilities with DHS. We can call specialized hunt teams in place. Here you go. And we do it all through Sensato, right? Because we do it, you get to claim it. And if you're not, I don't know what to tell you, right? It's kind of crazy, right? If you guys want, you know, I don't know. I could go on, but please leverage our relationships. They only benefit you. Realistic and frequent communication. We across the entire company, whether it's with our CTOC team, myself personally, engineering, whatever it is, our best clients, our best customers, the ones that are really trying to push the envelope on cybersecurity, be the most secure, communicate with us frequently. And it's realistic communication. What I mean by that is, if they're not happy about something, they let us know. Conversely, when we're not happy about something they're doing, we let them know and they accept it. I think it's really a shame when vendors cannot tell a client, you guys are screwing up. And in this space, in cybersecurity, if a vendor is simply just being nice to you all the time, letting you know what you want to hear, and not calling you out on things that are kind of silly, or don't make sense, or are not really the reality of what's going on in the threat landscape, that could set you up. You need to demand realistic communication from your vendors, not just us, but from everybody. So, realistic and frequent communication. And sometimes that communication is just like, how are you doing, right? How you feeling? How's life? It's not always about, a regulation or a test or a threat or whatever, or an alert. Sometimes it's just being human. And we thrive on that, right? We use the word client. You guys aren't our client. You're a mission. We don't want anything to happen to you ever. And by having relationships, I wish we could share food and coffee, but geographically and pandemically, that may not be possible. But the point is, we have to have a relationship with you, and we want that relationship. So when things go bad, and by bad I mean there's an attack, there's a breach, we can work through it together, one-on-one, shoulder to shoulder, because that's ultimately the biggest test we're either one of us are ever going to face. Okay, so that's what happens from a relationship perspective. What about relying on Nightingale? There are some things we see that people, customers, clients, whatever you want to call yourselves, rely heavily on Nightingale, and they get tremendous value. And probably in some areas you're not thinking about. Okay, big area that people rely on is the compliance manager. If you are not using the compliance manager in your organization, I get it, you might have some other ways to do this stuff, but you're not going to be able to get the benefits that you can get by just using what's in the Nightingale platform. Again, this ain't for you, that's fine, but you need to be aware of it. And you need to think about, can this take some of the load off? Can it help consolidate things? Can it create a common operating picture? Can it provide you an integrated security strategy? So here it is again, right? I know I've gone through this with people. You get a full maturity manager. You can use this, you have unlimited users. We have clients using this. It's their backbone to their cybersecurity program. They're able to, I'm going to talk more about it in a moment. There's just so much they do just by using the C2M2 product. We've enhanced it. You can do quarter over quarter, month over month, year over year comparisons. We're going to add some more features to it down the line. There's a bunch of stuff. I'll talk more about it in a moment. The risk register. We see so many people that go, well, my risk register is in Excel or SharePoint or some third-party product that compliance uses. There are really a lot of reasons not to be doing that. One, you have a risk register that's built into Nightingale, and it's really, really, really powerful. And it checks all the boxes for NIST, HIPAA, HITRUST, CSF, C2M2, all the stuff's there, and it's fully integrated. 3, policy exceptions. It's a big deal. Tracking all your policy exceptions. And guess what? You can get to it securely from anywhere, right? Again, all of this, the entire compliance manager, including threat profiles, all of it, unlimited users, you can start using it right now. We have people that get up and running in literally hours. You can import stuff from another register if you needed to. It's just there. Use it, right? Use it. Use it as a means to sit around a table and discuss risks and track them and mitigate them and push the boundaries. And if there's features you think we need to add, then please let us know and we'll do our best to get them in there if they're not already in there, okay? C2M2, the reason I'm harping on this is, man, it's such a powerful tool. And yes, you can do this on your own, or you can come to us, and yes, it's one of those things that if you want us to do a C2M2 workshop with you, there's an additional fee. But you could probably do this on your own. And we'll do a walkthrough with you. We're happy to train you on it. But we have clients who are using it to establish their budgets and justify them and their priorities. At the board level, the board is educated on C2M2, right? They may not understand 853 and HITRUST and HIPAA and all this, but but they understand C2M2. We have CIOs and CISOs going into their boards and giving them quarterly updates on where they stand, what's next, and what the investments are required. And we even have a way to teach you how to use it for ROI, okay? Obviously, that leads to development of 12, 24, and 36-month strategic plans, right? Executive leadership planning. And it's the foundation for assessments, right? Auditors come in, like, let me bring up C2M2. Let me show you my risk register. Let me show you my policy exception manager. Let me show you my threat profile. Here's everything. Any other questions? Nope, let's move on. Oh, threat and vulnerability management. Yep, we already talked about that and leveraging partnerships and everything else we do. You need to leverage this stuff. It's included. There's no additional fees for this. There's nothing to turn on. We just got to get your user ID and password and you're off to the races. There's another reason this is so powerful, right? And it may not be initially obvious. Months and months and months ago, we announced and we demoed and we showed something called crosslinks. And what that is you can enter a risk and you can then link that risk or a policy exception. You can enter a policy exception, a risk, or a threat. And then you can cross-link those items to an asset, or you can cross-link a policy exception to a risk, or a risk to a threat, or a policy exception, right? You get it? You can kind of go crazy with this stuff. But this example, you guys enter a risk. Let's say you say, hey, there's a SQL vulnerability in some application you're running on your environment. You can link that to an asset inside of the Nightingale asset management system. Now, the cool part about this is when the CTOC sees an alert and they go investigate that asset, they have this little cool button up here, and you can see policy exception, vulnerabilities, related events, risk register. When they click on that, they actually get the information from your risk right on the screen. So think about this when you're investigating an alert. You know, suddenly we see a SQL injection attack. Now that's a pretty serious situation. But all of a sudden you guys entered a risk related to that SQL database on that asset. The way you do it today, probably the CTOC does have no idea that that is there, right? They're just going to respond to the SQL injection. And yes, that's pretty serious. They'll take it very serious. But how much more serious would everybody, both your side of the table and our side, be if suddenly you get that notification that, hey, not only is there a SQL injection attack, but this involves an asset which has an active risk in the risk register related to SQL. Get what I'm saying? Maybe this is not the best example I'm using, but I want your mind to kind of think about how this is so powerful. And we're not talking about you having to import-export stuff and it's one place and somebody's got to log into it. This is all part of a single platform, right? And it's there and you own it. You have it. It's there for you today. Okay, another big thing we see people leverage is HIDs and honeypots, right? We see the best clients mass deploy HIDs, right? If you have not deployed HIDs, if you have a minimal amount of HIDs, deploy more of them. You have no idea how powerful these things are, right? We continue to upgrade them, or we've added machine learning to them. They are extremely powerful, and they are truly an amazing tool to give insights to what's happening to your infrastructure. Honeypots. Man, I can tell you the most serious attacks that we have detected have been due to honeypots. We have had our honeypots go off and detect zero-day stuff. We've had, honeypots detect leaks in the DMZ. We had honeypots detect attacks that turned into, in one of the comments earlier in the presentation, there was a CIO who mentioned how you guys saved us from a devastating attack. And that was due to the honeypots. Actually, a combination of honeypots and HIDs. And they basically were able to correlate the fact that this was a very real situation where the attacker was active. We were able to shut it down, contain it, and stop what was basically being staged to a staging of a massive ransomware attack against this hospital. And so I'm telling you, HIDs and honeypots, deploy them. If you have them deployed, leverage them. If you get honeypots alerts, I don't care how many times you get them, you have to take them real. It's just like a fire department that gets called out on a fire. Even if you get there and every time you get there the fire alarm's a false alarm, you can't just decide the next one's false, so I'll just, I'll get to it when I get to it. Right? There is never a reason that a honeypot should go off. It is an indicator of either misconfiguration in your environment or a security issue. That's it, bottom line. Yes, there is an additional fee if you want to deploy more than what you've already been allocated in terms of HIDs and honeypots, but we'll work with you on them. right? If you want to deploy more, we will figure out a way to help make it affordable as we can. But this is a big critical success factor. Integration. Best clients are integrating their syslogs, they're doing Connect API integration, they're doing custom log integration in some cases. But to be successful, you have to assign somebody to own it. You can't say, hey, we want to integrate our syslogs, and then there's no owner of the project, and it's not handled and managed like a real IT project where there's status updates and you're responsive and you can get us the information we need and you have the authority, ability, and accountability to do configuration changes, to forward the logs and do testing. Yeah, it sounds like a lot, but it's actually not when you have somebody who owns it. The biggest challenge we see is when people want to do integration, they talk about it, and then nobody gets assigned to own it, right? We own it, we have an owner on our side, but we need your help. So make sure, please, if you want to do this, take things to a new level, please do it with someone who's assigned to us so we can work with them and get the integrations done. Platform's fully capable of doing syslog integration, custom log integration, and REST API integration, right? It's pretty amazing. So, and we don't charge you for it, right? It's there. You can have a true common operating picture across your entire environment. Widgets. Okay, so let's talk about CTOC and how that's being leveraged by kind of the in terms of best practices. Okay, address the little things. CTOC can tell you where your HIPAA and DICOM traffic is, and what's happening with it, right? That's important for you to have from an audit perspective, right? Again, if an auditor asks you, tell me, how you guys are tracking your HL7 and your DICOM, and what are your HL7 and DICOM maps? And if you're not getting asked that question, you have the wrong auditors. But we can show you that. Your level 2 traffic, right? Do level 2 traffic analysis. If we can't see all your traffic, we can't fingerprint it. You may need to deploy some additional sentinels to support level 2, or layer 2 traffic. But ultimately, it's a critical item for us to be able to fingerprint everything on your network. SMB, we find a lot of you have outdated SMB. We can give you a report of all the outdated SMB on your platform and in your environment, right? Vulnerable assets. Please, you gotta, we can do vulnerability scanning. You have a full vulnerability scanning platform built into Nightingale that can be run by the CTOC and do all your vulnerability analysis and your vulnerability scanning. World-class vulnerability scanning product, right? Can do medical, IoT, OT, and classic IT scanning. But you gotta address the vulnerabilities. If you have weak or expired SSL certificates, you gotta go address them, right? Locking down these little things, man, it really raises the bar in terms of the security and the hardening of your environment. And I know these are hard projects because they're tedious, but you could do them over 24 months, right? You can keep track of it. But the point is, Nightingale has the ability to tell you where are all your weak or expired SSL certificates or about to expire. How about that? We can even tell you, hey, these are about to expire in the next X amount of time. You need to kind of get ahead of it. It can tell you all your SMB, it can tell you, there's a lot. We can go on and on about this. Another big thing is you have access to some really serious threat intelligence. One of the best practices we've seen is the deployment of InfoCon, or what we used to call InfoCon, and we now call SecCon. These are pre-gated, changes in security state. And we see hospitals that are using this really get a great return on investment, really helps them coordinate their response activities with the OEM for the hospital, as well as senior management. It's a very powerful thing. So go beyond the TAC alerts and really think about how you can deploy security conditions, right? And if you need help with that, again, all you got to do is contact the CTOC and they can help you. We have some templates. We can talk to you about what other organizations have done. We can address concerns with OEM. We can talk to OEM. There's a bunch of stuff we can do. Ongoing simulation and pen testing. You get a free 90-minute tabletop from us every year. It's part of our program, right? Take advantage of it. Pen testing, we have some of our best clients subscribe to our pen testing program. Now, some of you will say, well, you guys shouldn't be doing pen testing if you're doing everything else. But I will tell you, there's a tremendous benefit to doing with us because we have a really good understanding of your environment. And we do separate church and state within our organization. The CTOC team doesn't have anything to do with pen testing, and the pen testers we have don't have anything to do with CTOC. So again, this may cost some additional funds if you want to do a pen test subscription or a training subscription, but we will discount the heck out of it for existing clients. But on top of that, point is, If you don't do any of that, you do get a free 90-minute tabletop every year. So take advantage of it. Schedule it if you haven't already. Okay, this one is huge. Each and every one of you have a full-blown medical device security program, right? It includes medical device vulnerability scanning through the CTOC. The CTOC will actually coordinate with clinical engineering, with the end users, the actual clinicians, right? And schedule and manage your scanning. It includes end user education for medical device security. We have policy templates for medical device security. There's a medical device specific incident response program that actually trains your clinical rapid response team on how to deal with medical device cybersecurity program. There's a governance model. There's much more. In fact, let me show you something. This is the template project plan for the medical device MDCOP program, okay? I'm going to expand one of the tabs, but you can see it goes through policy and governance, your security architecture, your security operations, all of this specific to medical device security. And you can see it is really, really comprehensive, right? The point of this is a world-class medical device security program. It's one of the only ones that exceeds the FDA requirements. And I've already told you, we've had auditors tell clients, not us, tell the client, you guys have some of the most advanced medical device security program we've ever seen, right? So you guys already have this. You just got to say, okay, we want this. Sensato, let's make this happen. We're going to bring together our clinical engineering team, our nursing education, our IT security. We're going to make this happen. We have a very prescriptive program that everybody who's gone through this and followed the prescription has had amazing success in rolling out a massively successful advanced medical device security program. It's there. If you want it, you just got to ask for it. Widgets. Widgets are really powerful, right? Most of you may not know about this, but all of you have access to about, I think we're at 50, maybe even 60 policies and procedures that are pre-developed. They're all crosswalk to NIST, CSF, NIST 853, and HIPAA. We also have incident response plans. Everything is a template. You get it in Word or Excel, and you can go ahead and customize it however you need, right? It's included in our full stack solution. And we're even open-minded enough that if you say to us, well, we need this, if we don't have it and we think there's a need for it across the client base, we'll probably build a template. We can't always do that, right? But we can try. At least ask us. Again, you have access to these. There's no additional fee, no nothing. If you need a policy or procedure, just ask, hey, what widgets do you guys have? Or do you have a widget for this or that, right? And you're welcome to use them, right? And if you have if you have things that you think would be good templates and you're open to donating them, get them to us. We'll de-identify them. We'll put them into a template format, and we'll make them available to other clients, right? We're just looking to ease the pain and let you focus on things that are more important than writing policy and procedures. I'll give you an example of something that came up. We had somebody reach out to us and ask for a job description, and we didn't have the job description. So we wrote them a job description for somebody they needed to hire on their team. So again, it goes back to that frequent and realistic communication and having a strong relationship and realizing we really, really want to be part of your team. I want to show you one thing about widgets and how all this kind of comes full circle. Earlier, I showed you the risk register, and I kind of harped on why wouldn't you be using this risk register? And I get it, you might have another tool out there, who knows? But we've actually taken our widgets and they're completely crosswalked to the risk register. So you have an assessor come in, you have an auditor come in, you can hand them your risk policy, right? Your risk policy, your risk procedure, which come from our widget library. And if you look at the language in here, it's all crosswalk. So now you can log into Nightingale, open up the risk register, and when they see the risk register, that auditor is going to see that everything is 100% correlated. There's an entire risk taxonomy with all the definitions for all the data fields that are in the risk register. It just all kind of comes together. That's pretty powerful, right? You don't have to do all that work or that heavy lifting, right? You can manage, administrate, go look at more advanced things that you want to do in your environment, and all this kind of like low-level grunt work stuff. We've tried to make it really easy. So there it is for you, right? And this works for policies, incident response, policy exception, incident response, threat profile, a bunch of other things, right? So I don't know where you want to take your security program, right? I'm hoping we will be part of that journey with you. We really, really want to be part of that journey. And most importantly here, and I'm sorry if I came across a little too aggressive or assertive, but I look at what some of you are doing and I'm like, man, this stuff is really awesome and it's great and we see it in the real world. And then I see some others and I see you struggling and I see you thinking about doing things and wanting to do things and all these false starts. And look, like I said earlier, we have a lot of things we got to make better, but we got a pretty amazing solution that you have invested in, and we are so committed to making sure we're great stewards of that investment. So please, one of the biggest suggestions I would give you, schedule an audit. Talk to your CTOC team and say, look, I want to understand what we have deployed and what we haven't. I want to know everything. Have we taken full advantage of what haven't we taken advantage of with you guys? Let's just put a checklist together. And then from there, let's build a strategic plan, right? But let's build it together, right? Let's demand of each other a strategic plan that works, that fits into your cybersecurity vision and leverages what you've already bought from us, that you already subscribe to. And then take advantage of that full stack solution, right? And then help us push the boundaries on what we can do, you know? So again, I'm not asking for anything from you guys other than exploit what you got. Take full advantage. Get to know what you've invested in. It is a pretty amazing solution. And I really don't think there's a lot out there that can compare with it on a full stack basis. So anyway, look, most of all, I am just so thankful that you are our client. And for those of you that are not, I really, really hope you will truly consider becoming part of this family. So with that, thank you. I know this went a little longer. I appreciate your time. If you got questions, want to take the next steps, leverage and exploit the platform, let us know, and we will do everything we can to kind of take things to the next level with you. Thanks.